Welcome to Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen. Over here, I got my other Oh, it's just me over here. Well, I do have my other co-host over here. I got my other co-host.
You got Spectre.
Yeah! What is up, Spectre? I know this is weird. Like, you're not physically here. Like, I'm pointing in the right direction. You are here. But look at that.
We're doing the extreme social distancing.
I'm
right? I'm in a whole other county than you. So.
Whole other place. But, man, look at this nice logo over here. Got this nice logo for Spectre. Man, I like it. It looks nice. But yeah, so yeah,
I'll give you credit. It actually does look really nice.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm messing with you. Yeah, with all of this craziness, we can't go ahead and say what it actually is because, well, monetization. So, what we will like to call it, the Last of Us virus that's happening right now. It's not actually, cordyceps. It does start with a C, but it's the other one. But we're doing our own part to do social distancing. So I'm here on set, and Spectre is off on his own. No one can see you, man.
I'm from an underground bunker. I'm hacking into your transmission here.
Oh yeah. No, it's like no one want. Apparently, you don't want to be seen. It's to be heard, but yet not seen, I guess.
That sounds like me.
Yep. So how you been doing, Spectre? What's been going on with all this craziness?
Honestly, with what all that's going on with the thing that shall not be named, it's it's kind of comfy. Overall, I have a lot more time to. I'm in a fortunate position where I can work from home.
That's good.
But honestly, it gives you a little bit more time when you cut out the commute and all the nonsense that goes into work. You have a lot more time for the video, for the games. So I'm just spending a lot more time for the video games. Yeah, I blew through Doom Eternal really quickly.
Oh, very nice.
So I finished the campaign run on that. I'm gonna get into the multiplayer next.
Very nice.
So it's just that's something and there's no way I would have been able to do it that quickly had I been just doing working from the office as usual. So yeah, honestly, this is kind of comfy. I don't know if I want it to last forever, but it's sort of a nice break. I'm kind of I've always just by being gamers, I think we're kind of innately more indoorsy type of people, But
yeah,
I still like to get out. I like to go out and shop and stuff like that and browse stuff. And I'm a collector, so I like to go out to certain stores and see if they got stuff available, like some rare finds and stuff like that. But I can't really do any of that right now, and it just doesn't have that same magic buying something from eBay. So, yeah. But overall, honestly, at least for the moment, I'm pretty comfy. I don't like I said, I just don't want this to last forever.
No, I agree. I completely agree with you. This is such a weird time. I don't think this is very much like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I've never experienced this, and I don't think any of us have. You guys know that I'm a big wrestling fan. I wear wrestling shirts and I talk about it and stuff. And I've been watching especially WWE and AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and they're doing no crowd, and it's so weird of how it's done, and it makes them think about it on how they do it in a different way.
I couldn't imagine watching wrestling with no crowd in the background.
Dude, it's weird because in wrestling the crowd is so much of an integral part to the show. In my opinion, more so than in other sports like in football or basketball, or whatever. The crowd is there and it's awesome to hear them, and I think you get more amped up when the home team is winning, or so on and so forth. But in wrestling, the crowd is there to kind of tell you who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, who should cheer, who should not cheer, all the pops and all the big the pops, which is meaning that good things happen or cool things happen. I will say one of the best things that I've seen is that All Elite Wrestling, how they've been able to handle this no crowd situation is that they've actually put their own wrestlers into the crowd. So like on one side you have all the faces, which are the good guys, and on the other side you have all the heels, which are the bad guys. And they're, like for instance, they had some of the heels like betting on matches. On the face side, they were cheering for their own, their friends, people they knew. So All Elite Wrestling has been doing a very good job of dealing with this, and WWE has been doing a lot of promos and on how that's been happening. So just watching wrestling in this time, especially now we're coming up to WrestleMania, it's so weird. And I know, like, we talk about video games, we talk about PlayStation, but like, it's such a weird time that we're in right now. And it's baffling. Like, I mean, again, like with this has been happening, I've been home myself. I've been spending a lot of time with playing Animal Crossing. That's what I've been spending a lot of time with. Like, well, I guess I can't be social. Might as well go ahead and go to someone's island on Animal Crossing.
Right.
So, like, I've been doing that. I've also been playing Doom Eternal, not as much as Spectre. But yeah, Doom Eternal, ooh, like, man, that game just is fun. That game just looks fun. I got to spend more time with it. And then I've also been playing Destiny 2. It's just when I before I get tired, I'm like in this weird middle state where I'm like, I don't have enough higher brain functions to like be able to engross myself into like a video game where I want to be alert and awake and know what's happening. But I'm not tired enough for me to just pass out. So like Destiny is like that good even space where I really don't have to like think. I can just kind of go, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always have to have a game like that where you can just sort of turn off your brain and you kind of get into this comfy autopilot mode. And actually, that's kind of what Animal Crossing, to some extent,
Yeah, like
for me, it's also more of a social game too. I mean, I like to play it with. I haven't actually started it just yet. I'm going to play it with my girlfriend. So we played the 3DS version, New Leaf, and we had a great time with that. We really, bonded over that. So
yeah.
it's a social game. It's also kind of just a comfy game that you pop in for a couple of hours a day, and you don't really binge it necessarily. But I mean, it's just good to kind of turn your brain off and just relax. And you always got to have kind of a game like that. Like right now, I'm like, actually, I went back to Doom 2016, and that's sort of like my turn your brain off game. Like I'm doing the multiplayer on that. I'm trying to get the achievements for that.
Yeah.
Because I'm over on Steam now mostly, so I'm doing that now. But it's very much a autopilot kind of turn your brain off type of thing where you just turn it on and you just start playing, and it's just like, okay, I don't really have to think about focus on this or whatever.
Yeah, no, yeah, and that's what I've been kind of realizing playing Animal Crossing. This is my first time playing any Animal Crossing game ever, period. And
yeah, I can't believe you never played it before. I mean, it's been around a long time. It's a 20-year-old plus franchise now.
Yeah, I just think it has never appealed to me, and the reason why I'm picking it up is because I'm reviewing it. We'll be getting a review of Animal Crossing New Horizons out soon, along with Spectre's review of Doom Eternal. So that'll be very, very fun to see how that goes. But we're getting both of those games reviewed. They're in the process of that. But yeah, just kind of like my first initial thoughts of it is just like it has this weird, peaceful, serene, like the aura about it. And I like it's a game that you just do tasks upon tasks upon task. And normally I wouldn't be down for games like that, but like it's weirdly like serene. I don't understand it. Most games I'd be like, I just have to do this, and then it just again and again and again I would get bored. But it's just peaceful. I've never experienced a game like that, and that is a good thing. I do like that, but I have to spend more time with it. And again, we're going to be getting the review out of that, and Spectre has already talked about his kind of first initial thoughts of Doom Eternal, I believe.
No, I mean, I don't want to say too much about it before a review, but I'm very very pleased with it. Very little complaints, mostly nitpicking type of stuff. So I look forward to talking about it. Now my next step is to kind of get more into the multiplayer, because I've only really done like a match or two, so I haven't really been able to judge that yet. But it is a major component of the game. It's something they kind of hyped up quite a bit too.
Yeah.
So I want to give that a fair shake. But I mean, done with the single player now, aside from like one quick achievement, and yeah, I mean, just really thoroughly enjoyed it. Not a lot in the way of significant critiques of it. Maybe some, but nothing in the way of I mean, definitely I would say if you haven't already and you're a fan of Doom 2016 or the older ones, definitely give it a shot. I'd say just based I'd recommend it already.
Yeah, no, I get you there. Yeah, no, like even I just seeing gameplay of it looks so much fun. So we have these reviews coming, so be ready for them. All right, but Spectre, you ready to go into the first segment?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's go. What we always begin with: news of the nation. Normally you would be here and I would just do that to annoy you, but now you're not here, so now I'm just doing it.
Now I can just mute you. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, well, shut up, Spectre. No. Okay. So first, we were kind of talking about this a little bit ago, but with this Last of Us virus that is happening, we have been getting a lot and a lot and a lot of closings, a lot of things within, when we first heard about it and like as it progressed, weeks and days as it progressed, like tons of things have been canceled. Like E3 has been canceled. South by Southwest has been canceled. A lot of and again, it's not only just in the video game space; it's everywhere. Like as I was talking about wrestling before, AEW and WWE are doing like they're not in arenas, no fans. It's in closed off spaces. The NBA has canceled their entire season. The XFL has canceled their entire season until 2021. So it's like everything, all of the entertainment and that kind of thing has been shut down. So yeah, Spectre, kind of want to I'll pull up some other other publishers' response, but like I want to kind of hear your thoughts and what you think about E3, like in the video game space, especially of like E3 being canceled completely, like of how it was going to be done, because E3, the ESA was trying to hold off until like the last minute to be able to keep it open, but then it was like, nope, we got to shut down. There's no way that we could stay open and like do it in June. Like they were seeing if maybe they could postpone it, but they didn't. It's done, canceled. So I want to
honestly, I mean, if you would have told me that that would happen several years ago, I would have said that'd be crazy. That's like a megaton bomb going off. I mean, but now, I mean, with kind of the state of E3 and the way things are going, I mean, E3 in some respects is already kind of canceled. I mean, we already had before this, Sony was pulling out again this year. There's so many major, obviously Nintendo's been out of it for years now. I mean, really, it's just Microsoft is the only one holding the torch for this anymore at this point. And in a way, I mean, I don't know. I feel like E3 is, I mean, it really hasn't been the same since, going back to like, I don't know, 2015 or so.
I would say like maybe 2016, 2017. Like 2018 was rough. 2018 was rough, but like just to speak about past E3s, I was actually watching do you remember the Raising Kratos documentary that PlayStation put out after
yes.
God of War? Okay. If you haven't watched that, go watch it. It's like 2 hours of awesome. Like it's how Santa Monica developed God of War 2018. And in one of the segments is the announcement at E3 2016, the opening of PlayStation's conference, where they had the band playing with the gameplay playing in the back while Cory Barlog is playing that gameplay. And I like just hearing the anticipation and just kind of like, oh, I hope that like the crowd likes this, and then just hearing the absolute just just the shock and awe and just the eruption, the pop that happened when Kratos comes out of the shadows was nuts. I even remember, I will never forget this. I did the PlayStation experience in one of the movie theaters, and I was with, like, it was me and my best friend, and we were in the crowd at the theater. And when Kratos comes out, I'm losing my mind. Like, I still get goosebumps from that. I even watched E3 2016, that PlayStation conference, for that. And it was so good. So many good announcements. The announcement of Crash, the street date for Shadow Colossus, for Last Guardian, the announcement of Resident Evil 7, God of War, so on and so forth. Like, it was such a good E3.
Yeah, no, but then again, that was years ago now.
I know,
now
I know.
It feels like even regardless of what's going on with current events right now, I feel like in some respects E3 will never be what it was again. I think it's a event that's dying, and that's sad for me to say that. I mean, I've always enjoyed E3. It's always something I look forward to. I went to E3 2011 and really enjoyed that experience. I'm very grateful that I did that. Because now it looks like I may not get a chance to ever again. So,
and that's the. No, go ahead.
And I was gonna say that. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not someone that's rooting for the death of this thing. I'm very much.
Get out of here.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I was trying to go ahead and pull up pretty much some of the articles, and my computer went wonky. No, go on as you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying that I don't think it's ever going to be what it was before, and that's sad. But that's just what it is now. And like I said, I'm grateful I went before, because I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to again, depending on if the show ever really goes on. But yeah, no, I mean, I guess I'm not really shocked by E3 being canceled. I mean, it seems like it's kind of always been current events are accelerating things in a way, but I mean, this was it was on this trajectory to begin with, I want to say.
Yeah, I mean, like with this, like what this E3, even if we still had it, E3 2020, it was still going to be like PlayStation was again said that we're not going to be at E3. We want to be at PAX and Tokyo Game Show, and we want to be more with our audience instead of be a press junkie. And I understand, like, even kind of looking at this, like, it just E3 just very, like, it does feel like Christmas for the fans, and that's because they've opened it to the public. But it's very much like it's always the press kit, all the behind closed doors, like demos and stuff. So if you're not part of the press, you can't see it, or I agree with PlayStation being like, yeah, we want to be closer to our crowd. We want to announce it to our fans. But then, like, hearing Jeff Keighley pull out of it, like he's been with E3 since the beginning, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm out. Bye. Like, that was nuts. Like, I'm like, wow. Like, he's gone? Okay. So there was a lot of things left, and now with this happening, this could change with E3 being canceled this year. I don't know. And if I was a betting man and a predicting man, I don't think we're going to get E3 as a trade show. I think next year, like the trade show where, like, hey, where it's going to be held in the ESA, in the big building that the ESA puts, and all the different, like, kiosks and stuff. I think that's going to be gone. I think it's going to be very much like everyone's going to have their own direct. Nintendo has their Nintendo Direct. PlayStation has their State of Play. Xbox is kind of already doing that with Inside Xbox, and then like Ubisoft will probably have their own. Like, who knows? Ubisoft, and it's spelled Y-O-U. Ubisoft. I don't know. Like Activision, so on and so forth. But what I wanted to pull up is I kind of pulled up all the reactions that a lot of, like, kind of like that people that the companies like Nintendo, Ubisoft, so on and so forth. So Nintendo has said that Nintendo supports the ESA's decision to cancel this year's E3 to help protect the health and safety of everyone in our industry, our fans, our employees, our exhibitors, and our longtime E3 partners. We would like to express our concern and support for all those affected by the Last of Us virus outbreak during this challenging time. It's not that. I can't say it. That's why. Continues, we'll continue to be flexible and redirect our efforts in ways of keeping our fans up to date about our activities and products. And then it continues. Xbox says that E3 has always been an important moment for Team Xbox. Given this decision, this year we'll celebrate the next generation of gaming with the community and all who love to play via an Xbox digital event. Details on timing and more will be in the coming weeks and months and so on and so forth. Like the Inside Xbox, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to see again from Nintendo and from Sony as well too, is some kind of very probably low attendance type event with a very limited number of people. I think that's going to be something like that is what we're going to see this year. No matter how world events shape up at this point, because I'm sure we'll see something or hear something around that time, and it's probably not going to be a show that's going to have a large gathering or that much attendance in it. So
yeah, I mean, like Ubisoft has kind of said similar things. Limited Run put out a tweet about this, because Limited Run, who makes physical versions of a lot of digital only games, which I love Limited Run. I've bought multiple games from them. THQ Nordic put up a tweet. It's a tweet and it's a picture of it's from it's from the Arrowverse, and there's a tombstone that says Oliver Queen, but instead it's a heading that says E3 announcements, and it's the guy who plays the Flash, and he's just putting up a peace sign. He's like, yeah, and it's THQ Nordic. I found that hilarious, and it says F. Just the letter F in its description, which means press F for tribute, or press or it's making fun of the Call of Duty. What was it? I can't think.
Yeah, no, I know it's become kind of like
it's a meme.
It's a Twitch meme. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then Devolver Digital has put out a tweet and kind of they're also Square Enix said has put out a statement. All of it is very much they're figuring out a way to announce all their product to us. So this is very big, and it's just with all of this, like I don't see E3 being the same way anymore.
Yeah, I agree, and it's sad. I mean, like I said, I'm not a fan of this. I really it's like something from your childhood that's disappearing. I mean, it's sad to see it go. I mean, we have alternatives to it that are kind of better, but I mean we've talked about this before. I mean, I think I like the the theatrical quality of E3, kind of sometimes the goofy stuff that can happen at E3. I like that aspect of it, and I think something's lost when we go to these very crafted and calculated digital events that are done in advance. I think there's just not as much room for interesting improv type of things happening that you wouldn't expect.
I mean, I have heard a lot of people like other internet personalities who have said that I've heard other internet personalities that have said that they're like, oh man, like they don't like E3. I mean, not the essence of E3, but it's more of like how E3 is very much more of a trade show, and it's not for the public. It's very much trying to appease to the video game press. Like the whole job of E3 is not to. You would think that E3 is meant to excite fans for the next upcoming games, and yes, it does do that, but really it's more about, hey, IGN, GameSpot, Kotaku, Polygon, blank, 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 blah, 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 blank, YouTube personalities, so on and so forth. Hey, talk good about us. Get excited for our games. Where when they come out, they're actually not. Like Anthem is like, in my opinion, a perfect example. Like seeing what Anthem was shown, I believe, at 2017, and then what we got last year are two completely different things. Watch Dogs is another one, so on and so forth. Like E3 built up a lot of hype that normally is never lived up to most of the time. Most of the time, not saying that happens all the time, because there are a good number of games that do live up to expectations that are presented at E3, and then when they come out, they are good. So I don't know. Do you agree with these people who are like, you know what? I'm happy that this is happening. Screw the ESA. Screw E3. I'm glad that this is happening. Like, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm not. I mean, and I say this. I'm not happy to see it go. I mean, and I say this as somebody that doesn't necessarily agree with their the politics of the people that run this place, this event. So I mean, I just I don't know. I guess I'm gonna miss it. I mean, it's the good and the bad. I'm gonna miss it from that. So I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I'm not saying that they're 100% done. I mean, they could always just come right back next year and have traditional E3. But
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, obviously, Sony is pretty much shown that they're not gonna participate in these anymore, and Nintendo hasn't participated in one in years. So I mean, I don't know. I don't. It doesn't bode well for its future.
No, I mean, and honestly, with all this, like, it is cheaper, and honestly, with the time we live in, with this digital social media age we live in, it is much easier and much more effective to put up a state of play, put up a video, put up a conference, which we'll get to that later. Put up a video to talk about the products that you have coming out. It's much more effective and cheaper on the business end to just kind of do a state of play, to do a Nintendo Direct, instead of like, okay, we gotta spend money to get a floor space to put up our kiosk and kind of make it look like, it's kind of like, all the attractions and stuff, and then have a conference to announce it and blah, 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 blah. It's much cheaper to just like, okay, we can just be on a set and we can announce it and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. Like, I personally like the trade show of E3. It is very much something that I enjoy. I love, like, the time of June where the entire video game industry comes together and we're all excited and amped up for the new games that are going to be announced for later that year and then the next year, or so on and so forth. So
yeah,
it'll be very, very interesting to see what happens in June, or if we're going to even in June that'll even happen. Like, for all we know, we might not. We'll just be like, Ubisoft will put up a video in June, and then Xbox will put it up in May or something. Like, who knows? I don't know. There's a lot of like things that are up in the air in this crazy Last of Us virus time we live in right now.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and move on. Next topic, kind of continuing on with this virus that we have. It's that GameStop to close all U.S. storefronts to comply with the Last of Us virus regulations, and they move to curbside and digital services only. And this has kind of been an ongoing thing recently. Now, mind you, GameStop is not the only store that has closed its doors and are doing this. Best Buy is also doing a service like this also. But GameStop is like synonymous with video games, so that's why I wanted to bring this up. But there's been multiple articles, but this is coming from IGN. Starting from March 22nd, all GameStop locations in the U.S. will temporarily stop customer access to storefronts, processing orders on a digital basis only, moving to curbside pickup at stores and e-commerce delivery only. The company said in a statement on Saturday, and that would be, I believe, the 22nd? Yeah, I believe so, of March. This news comes days after IGN originally reported that GameStop decided to close all California stores, following increased public scrutiny over their decision to consider themselves a, quote, essential business due to their selling of tech hardware like keyboards and webcams. In a statement, the company said that the move to strictly curbside pickup and digital sales will allow them to still serve customers who have made orders on GameStop's website and app and have requested a physical product pickup at their local store. In a statement, GameStop CEO George Sherman elaborates on the company's position on the virus public health regulations, which contrast sharply with what some GameStop employees have been told. So this is, I believe, this is the statement from the CEO. Yes, our priority has been and continues to be on the well-being of our employees, customers, and business partners. We have been steadfast in our adherence to the CDC guided safety and local government orders for retailers in each of our communities. The statement also says that the company has assured employees that they do not have to work if they feel uncomfortable and can stay home if they feel sick. GameStop adds that they will pay all U.S. employees whose hours have been eliminated an additional 2 weeks at their regular pay rate based on the average hours worked in the last 10 weeks, and that GameStop will reimburse all benefit eligible employees their portion of benefit expenses. But the statement contrasts sharply with what GameStop employees have told IGN, with one employee saying that, quote, GameStop corporate is putting its employees at risk of the Last of Us virus. They aren't closing stores and they aren't offering paid time off. They are still pushing their employees to advertise events at their stores that will draw crowds of people. And I believe this relates to the release of Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. Later, another GameStop employee who works in a city that recently issued orders to close all non-essential business reached out to IGN to express their own concerns. Quote, we are not getting cleaning supplies, but GameStop is still telling its guests that we are getting them in cleaning high-traffic surfaces. And then it kind of talks about what is like that they're going to digital and how kind of how everything is kind of being mismanaged. It's been rough for GameStop. Let's see. The result has been highly overworked employees who are subjected to high levels of stress and pressure from leadership on various levels to increase pre-order trade-in and phone purchases, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so, I mean, there's more to it. I'm going to pull it up more, but Spectre, what do you think?
Well, I mean, this is a business that's already failing. I mean, this is going to devastate them. I mean, they can. I understand where some of these employees are coming from. Asking for sick leave and all this stuff, and I mean, that's fine. I mean, I think what they're probably going to try to do in a lot of cases is have them use like vacation time, paid time off, stuff like that. Here's the problem, though, is I mean, I think GameStop as a company doesn't have much time left in it, and I think this virus situation is going to rapidly accelerate that. I mean, you have some anecdotal cases of like some stores having more foot traffic, but for the most part, I mean, you're seeing their stock still isn't really moving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're seeing a massive. I mean, it's just been a downward spiral for this company for years and years and years now, and I think this just pushes them even further into the direction of like we've seen for a lot of other companies looking, at some kind of bankruptcy.
Yeah,
I think that's the final fate of GameStop here. I don't think there's any way to turn around things. I think it's sadly, it's a business that's been displaced by, modern shopping trends. People buy games by and large digitally, or they buy games, even if they don't buy a game digitally, they'll purchase it on Amazon or have it shipped to them. So, I mean, the day of the physical brick and mortar video game store is nearing its sunset. So I think that all this does is just it accelerates things for them, because I mean, in a lot of states they're just not going to be able to operate. I mean, I mean, who knows? I mean, they could try to. I'm sure their lawyers are going to try to argue essential business and stuff like that. And even if they win that battle, I mean, I just don't see a lot of people ordering products online and navigating that really awful website of theirs and going to a store and picking it up. I think they'd rather just say, do you want to, especially at a time when, a a lot of states are issuing stay-at-home orders, and people don't want to be out in general anyway. So it's like, do you want to really go out and go to a a GameStop and pick up a game when you could just go ahead and just buy something digital on whatever storefront you use? So I guess my opinion on all this is this current events are just going to accelerate the downfall of GameStop even more quickly. Maybe this pushes things ahead by as much as another year. Like where it takes a year off their lifespan. And I feel for the employees, but I mean, and a part of where all this pressure comes from, I think, is this is a dying business, and that's where they're coming from. They're trying to do anything they can to shore things up and make it look like it's still viable. But this is a dying business, and this is just another nail in the coffin.
Yeah, I mean, like when you came to about essential business, actually, what has happened is that they stay, like they are staying open because they are, quote, saying that they are essential retail. Alongside groceries and pharmacies, and the reason.
And I think we can both agree that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, who goes to a GameStop to purchase a mouse or? I mean, that's a little silly for me.
I mean, I don't remember the last time I went to, like, I don't even remember a time I went to GameStop to go ahead and buy a mouse or keypad. Like I know they have them online, but like
I mean, you see them in the stores too, but it's usually a very small section of them.
Yeah.
90% of the store is other things, video game merchandise, games themselves, things like that. I mean, their PC section is very, very small, and for PC players, we tend to get our stuff, online.
Yeah.
There's other easier ways to find what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, a report coming. This is a report coming from Kotaku, is that they are able to say that they are essential business because of what we said about it being that they sell webcams and keyboards. But we've received reports of local authorities visiting stores in an attempt to enforce closure despite our clarification. Store managers are approved to provide the document that's linked here to law enforcement as needed. And let me go ahead and grab it. Yeah, here it is. Let me see. Let me just quickly pull this up.
Yeah, I saw the document you're referring to. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's
yeah.
The thing is, I don't really. I mean, from a philosophical standpoint, I don't really agree with this whole lockdown and shuttering businesses idea. I think it's from a more libertarian perspective, it's definitely outrageous, I would say.
Yeah, it's pretty much the document that is there. The document pretty much says is that we are essential business because we sell webcams and keyboards. We are abiding by the CDC and the virus, and we are taking precautions, cleaning everything, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. If you have any questions, call corporate GameStop. They give the corporate number to call to verify that they are essential business. Like, I say that this is a no disqualification match, even though this is a normal match. Or like, in soccer, I'm going to pick up the ball and run with my hands.
I'm not sarcastic about it, because honestly, the laws as they're written are extremely vague. No one's ever been able to give a good response as to what counts as an essential business and what doesn't. It's very vague, and I think they're definitely taking advantage of that fact, and I don't blame them for doing that, because it's a dying business, and they can't really they already can't afford everything that's going on with them financially, and they especially can't afford having a whole bunch of stores shuttered and that they're paying for, and paying paid time off and benefits for employees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing about all this is everybody. I think there's a tendency, like I said, not to get political about this, but there's a tendency to be concerned with the actual the individual citizens themselves. But and that makes sense. That's fine. But part of a big part of a person's life, probably one of the most important parts of their life, is their career and their job.
Yeah.
Without that, their quality of life is going to drop down dramatically. Also, their chances of surviving, virtually anything, like if they don't have healthcare, for example.
Hmm.
So, I guess, and that's what some of these employees are realizing, I think, is because, I mean, keep in mind, as of when we're recording this video, there hasn't been any kind of official, stimulus thing or anything approved by Congress just yet. So right now, there's
Yeah.
really nothing. And if these stores close, then these employees are going to be basically without a job for a little while. I mean, they'll have their vacation, which they have to honor, and sick time or whatever. But I mean, that only lasts so long.
Yeah.
They can't go months and months and months without a job.
Yeah. And the longer that this happens, the longer that jobs are going to be, that places are going to be closed, and that people won't have, like, jobs, places will close because people don't have money to be able to, like to get things. And again, I'm being very, like, this is very extreme, and I don't think that's going to happen. But the biggest problem with this entire thing that's happening right now in the world, it's not just in the US, this is happening everywhere in the entire world, is that we don't know. We don't have enough information to know what's going on. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I know I keep repeating myself, but I don't know. It's absolutely nuts. And look, when it comes to this, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that GameStop is saying, "Hey, we are essential retail. We are staying open and stuff." Is that a good thing? Maybe. I mean, people need entertainment so that way they don't lose their minds. Like, we need some kind of escapism right now. We need that, like, something to escape from the crazy, horrible things that are happening right now, and having that is good. But, like, the way that GameStop continues and continues and continues to go about it is wrong and bad. And, like, I feel more bad for the people working in the stores than I do for the corporate higher ups who are running, who I don't even know if they know how to run the company. Like, I don't.
I don't think anybody knows how to run the company right now. I mean, it's a I think it's a sinking ship, and right now, these current events are poking more holes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that's just how it is. I don't maybe, and from my perspective, I think it's a doomed business model
Mm.
at this point. I don't think a large international retail chain dedicated to mostly just strictly video games and video game related merchandise, I don't think that's viable in the future. I
Mm.
think you'll still always have video game shops. You'll have smaller shops, mom and pop type shops, who might make a resurgence after the fall of GameStop, but
Mm.
which will be great, because I love going to those things. Those are fun,
Mm.
because you kind of get a wider variety of things to look for. But yeah, I don't think the business can be saved, and I think this just, I mean, I don't know. I think within a year, regardless of what happens, I think you're going to see announcements of massive store closings. You're going to see a lot of people be put out of work,
Yeah.
because this business is falling apart.
Yeah. And again, like, I just, though they kept their stores open longer, like, they kept their stores open to the public longer than a lot of other retailers were. Like, I have no problem with them now closing their doors and being like, all right, curbside pickup, or order online, whatever. That's good. Like, that needs to happen. And that's fine. But, like, they stayed open to the public while tons of other retailers were closing its doors and doing online only or whatever it would be. They were closing their stores to try to stop the spread of this.
I'm not gonna fault them for that, though. I think, honestly, there are no good answers to this. There is no when was it too early? When was it too late?
I know,
It's hard.
I know,
That's hard to say.
I know.
And like I said, at the end of the day, when this company goes under, there's gonna be tons and tons of people, thousands of people out of work because of it.
Yeah,
And I think the company's doomed, like I said. But it's I mean, these things like this, this is the last gasp for air, essentially. This is just doing it, and it's the same thing with the pushing the stories we hear about, pushing the pre-orders, pushing the trade-ins. I mean, that's just
yeah.
it's a way to, I mean, that's kind of what they have to do
But
to
the
keep the business going.
like, okay, fine, like you have numbers to meet. Every business has some kind of numbers and stats that they have to meet, but the problem is that GameStop, it's always about the way. It's the how that is the worst part about it, where you could lose your job if you don't hit X amount of pre-orders, or X amount, or if you don't get this, you would be, your livelihood would get threatened, or you could drop down or something. Like, the way this is how aggressively the employees would have to be like, do you want to pre-order this? Do you want to pre-order that? Do you want to pre-order this? Do you want to pre-order that? Like, how it's done. That's not good salesmanship.
I guess so, to some degree. I mean, every company has metrics.
But what I mean is, like, every company has metrics. It's always about the how.
And there's companies out there way more aggressive than GameStop. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just saying that I think they're doing whatever they can to try to keep the business aloft, and it's I can't blame them to a large degree, because I mean, it's a dying business.
It's just because that everything is now going digital. It's just that's kind of becoming how it is. It's now 60-40 digital to physicals. Like, I'd probably say more like 70-30 now, honestly, with how things are going. But, like, look, they should have closed their doors earlier. I don't mind that they're still open right now, meaning, like, you can still buy products, you can still pick stuff up, whether it's like at curbside pickup at the store, or you can get it mailed to your house. That's fine. Best Buy has been doing that same thing for a while now, and mind you, like, Best Buy also stayed open and kept their doors open. I'm not saying that, like, well, let's throw Best Buy in there. And there's other stores that have done the same thing that are quote not essential retail, but they closed their doors that you can order online. That's what they should have done from a long time ago. Like in all other companies.
The problem with that, though, is it is going to have a dramatic impact on their sales. You're not going to get a 1-to-1 same number of people that are going to be purchasing things online as you would for
if you go in store, because if you go in store, you're going to get impulse buy, like, you went in.
You still have a lot of people. Yeah, you get impulse buyers. You still have a lot of people that just really aren't online yet.
Yeah, no, I get you, especially when it comes to, like, the older generations. Like, they only know how to we haven't hit the point where that, like, everything is online, and we are now used to that. It's probably, honestly, that'll become when we are old of age, when we're, like, just old fossils, probably. But who knows? Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's the generation after us, or after that. Who knows? But all I'm saying is, like, they're not like, just the way that this has been done has been very, very poor. And, like, just GameStop continues to just shoot itself in the head, and I don't understand. It seems like monkeys are running that business, and I don't understand it, and it's just a mess. But let's go ahead and move on from that. One last piece of news that I have for this, and there's a lot about. This is not really connected to the virus, but it's that The Last of Us Part 2's delay reportedly led to sustained crunch, not less crunch, meaning. It's because they were in the reason why it got pushed back from February to May is because they've been in crunch for months upon months upon months. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Coming from Kotaku, as Naughty Dog crunches on Last of Us Part 2, developers wonder how much longer this approach will last. On Friday this is from Jason Schreier, who did a fantastic job. I've read this article and did a fantastic job on this. One Friday last month, some artists at the video game studio Naughty Dog were working on their latest game when they heard a crash. A large metal pipe had fallen from above them and landed right next to their desk. If it had been dropped a few feet closer, the consequences would have been dire. It was late past 9 p.m. and the construction workers above had perhaps recklessly assumed that no one was there. But Naughty Dog people are always there. Owners of the building reacted quickly, firing that construction team, hiring a new one, and installing new safety measures to ensure that an incident like that wouldn't happen again. To some Naughty Dog employees, however, it was emblematic of an unhealthy culture, the type of environment where a late-night construction accident might take place while people are still there at the office. Last of Us Part 2, the studio's new PS4 game about people trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic U.S., will come out May 29th. As many developers at Naughty Dog put in nights and weekends at the office to finish the game. This article came up before we've been now like working at home and like the lockdown, the social distancing and everything. Some continue to ask themselves a question that has haunted the studio for years: is it worth it? One developer recently told Jason that, quote, "This game is really good, but at a huge cost to the people. Even in an industry where overtime is ubiquitous, where it's near impossible to find a game that it doesn't have the result or of weeks or months of crunch, Naughty Dog stands out. Its games, including the Uncharted series and 2013's groundbreaking Last of Us, are widely considered the best among the best of the best, with ultra-realistic graphics and fidelity and things you wouldn't see in other video games." And then it also talks about that the deal exists because Naughty Dog has built a culture of perfectionism where games have been great no matter the human cost. Many have worked at Naughty Dog over the years, described as a duality, as a place that can simultaneously the best and the worst workplace in the world. Working at Naughty Dog means designing beloved, critically acclaimed games alongside artists and engineers who are considered some of the greatest in their fields. But for many of those same people, it also means working 12-hour days or longer, and even weekends when the studio is in crunch mode, sacrificing health, relationships, and personal lives at the altar of the game. One former developer said, quote, "They do try to take care of you, providing food, encouragement to go take breaks, but for the most part, the implication is get the job done at all costs." One major consequence of the culture has been attrition. Of the 20 non-lead designers in the credits of the 2016's Uncharted 4, a whopping 14 to 70% are no longer at the studio, which had been wide-ranging effects on the development of Last of Us Part 2, and led to questions about the continued viability of Naughty Dog's approach. Some of Naughty Dog's veterans tolerate or even enjoyed the crunch, while a handful of them even found ways to work normal hours, but those speaking to Kotaku say that they see it as an untenable atmosphere. One developer said, quote, "This can't be something that's continuing over and over for each game because it's unsustainable." And this is about Last of Us Part 2. "At a certain point, you realize I can't keep doing this. I'm getting older, and I can't stay at work all night." And so it continues on. And pretty much what this, like, go look up this article. This is a long, deep article that Jason Schreier has done a very good job talking about what has happened at Naughty Dog. And it pretty much... I think it's always the irony of all this is that, I mean, I think I can say this. I think that the people, and Naughty Dog and a lot of these publishers, they tend to they wear their politics on their sleeves, shall we say, and they're people that you would think based on their political persuasion would be a little bit more labor friendly, but in terms of when they actually run a company, it's very different. I just kind of find that kind of funny. It's just I'm just saying that they're the type of people that would be like, oh, it's all about making the workers happy and blah blah blah, and that's how they are outwardly. And when you see them on their Twitter feeds and stuff, but then when you actually get down to the nitty gritty of running a company, this is how they behave. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into politics. I don't even think that. It really is just like, I'm not surprised by this at all. I'm a little bit surprised because I just thought that they would have.
Didn't we do a thing on them before? I mean, they had like a sexual assault case there. I mean,
no, I think that was a different developer. I think that
I thought it was Naughty Dog.
No, I don't believe so. No. Um,
I know this is the first time we've talked about them with kind of some controversy, but
No, I don't think we've talked about Naughty Dog at least in this kind of way. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't believe so. But the other thing is that that has been said also is that the reason why Naughty Dog can kind of get away with this is because of Sony. Sony can go ahead and just be like, all right, yeah, go ahead. You have more time. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You have more time. To go ahead and do this because they trust and they know because of Naughty Dog, they know this game is going to sell. They can make back the time that has been spent on the game. Now, mind you, if they did normal, if it wasn't in a constant state of crunch, this game would probably come out by the time of the PS5. Like, if it wasn't under so much crunch. Like what is your stance? I don't know if we've even talked about crunch or when it comes to like crunch meaning like you have to be there for 12 plus hours working on a game. Like what is your stance? I don't know if we talked about this on
it's called
Dualshock'd.
having a job. No, it's like it really is. I mean, like you said, there's something weird about video game developers. They're kind of like, I mean, I don't know what even to compare them to. They're kind of like teachers. They feel like that they have like they're these in general they have like this special condition where they are they have this martyr complex where they feel like that every other job is easy and they go for these unique terrible things which really aren't that bad to begin with. I mean I mean, it happens. I mean, even at least they have like a designated time when this happens. Like, it's closer to the end of the game development or whatever. They kind of expect this coming, sort of. I mean, there's times where people just working regular jobs, they have to do a double or that's just part of what they have to do. That's just part of their everyday life. I mean, it's just part of having a job. I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
sorry, I don't feel sympathy.
I mean, I disagree with you entirely. I honestly, the constant state of crunch. Like, look, when you become a video game developer, it's almost like being in crunch. Kind of comes with like, it's part of the that's on your resume of being a game developer. But that shouldn't be the case. Like, that should be any job. I don't even like. Yes, like we're talking about game developers because this is a video game show. This is about PlayStation, but like this should be everywhere. This shouldn't be a thing anywhere, honestly. Like a state of crunch, like everyone should be able to work a good amount of hours. I'm not saying like you can just waste your time, but like the constant of
But
working.
the real world doesn't work that way.
I know, I understand.
It doesn't. And it's no. In a perfect world, we'd all work. Only work 6 hours a day, if that, and everything would be hunky dory. We never would have any stress whatsoever. It's just not how the world works.
Being in this constant state of crunch, like
You're not in a constant state of crunch.
That's what we just talked about.
I don't even like the term crunch. I mean, I think it's goofy. I mean, that's just like I said, it's just having a job. You're having a bad day at the job, essentially, or a bad couple of weeks.
I completely disagree with you there, Spectre. Like, because you don't have time for yourself. You don't have time for your family. You don't have time. Like, yeah, you have time to go ahead and
There's lots of jobs like that. Every job is like that to some extent.
But that doesn't warrant. Just because every job is like that, that shouldn't be the case.
What's your solution then?
Honest, like, if I have to pick up a solution, honestly, push this game back, honestly, to the PS5. But I know that's not the case because, I understand because PlayStation can't just go ahead and continue to dump money into it. It's between a rock and a hard place. Like, I get it. And maybe it's that Naughty Dog, like Rockstar makes very big, well-known games, and they only come out like once every generation. Like we had a GTA. Well, GTA 5 was very much.
That's because they can expect their games to sell tens of millions of copies.
And you don't think Naughty Dog can do that? Like Last of Us Part 2 is one of the most highly anticipated games coming out this year.
Yeah, but it's not going to sell more than a Grand Theft Auto 5 or a Red Dead Redemption.
I mean, probably not, only because it's an exclusive. It's only on PlayStation, so it doesn't have the ability.
In general, though, it's not. There's no way you could put it on every. Going to sell those games.
Well, I don't know. Completely disagree, and maybe we could talk about more about the subject of crunch in a different episode. But like, hearing about this, and I highly recommend everyone look up this article from Jason Schreier on Kotaku and go through it and make your own opinion. Just because me and Spectre have our own opinions, sometimes we agree, mostly we don't. Make your own opinion. We just are here speaking our opinions, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this happening with Naughty Dog. If you agree with Spectre or with me, or if you have your own opinion about it, I would love to hear about it. But I mean, just kind of closing on this is this sucks, and hearing about this, like there's a cycling door of people coming in and out, like they from Uncharted 4, from the team that worked on Uncharted 4 to this team working on The Last of Us Part 2, you lost from anywhere from 14 to 70% of your team. So, and that sucks. That sucks. And that's because they all left. That like they didn't fire them. They left. They went somewhere else.
And there you go. There's the solution. Leave. Go somewhere else.
I don't know.
No one's forced. No one's twisting these people's arms to work.
No, I get you. And
if they're such a horrible employer, if they're I mean, yeah, it sucks. It's not fun to look for other jobs. Trust me, I know a lot about job searches and stuff like that, and the recruiting process for companies. I know a lot about stuff, but it's it just because, I mean, you can always leave. That's what it always comes back to is no one's holding you forcing you to work somewhere. You can always leave, and sometimes that's actually the best decision. Sometimes it's really the best decision you can make. I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
I know that's the end of my thought.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's.
The one thing that I will have to say is that Naughty Dog isn't like the way. They're in almost a perpetual state of crunch, or at least that's what I'm understanding here. But it's not that they're as in the article stated before, it's about get it done at all costs. But like you can take breaks, you can go get food, you can do that, but the job still needs to get done. So it's not the good thing is that the way they're being treated isn't. It could be worse. It could absolutely be worse. But it's still not good to constantly being in a state of crunch. But yeah. All right, but that's all I got from the news. A lot of this was about the virus that's been happening. This is probably the only thing that kind of stood out, and I wanted to spend some time with this. So let's go into our main topic, the PlayStation conversation.
PlayStation.
So, Spectre.
What's up?
Did you see that Road to PS5 GDC conference video?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. If you haven't on the channel, I have put up I have my reactions to it along with my final thoughts to it. And yeah, oh boy. I've kind of stated my own opinion on it, and I'll talk about it a little bit more with you, Spectre, because you and I haven't really talked about this. But I want to hear from you because we don't know what your thoughts are. What do you think? What are your thoughts on what we saw from the quote Road to PS5 GDC conference that we got?
Well, I think it's going to be a very rough road, very rocky road, to say the least. I mean, if we're going with that analogy, because I mean, man, that was bad. I mean, I honestly, I think that entire event should have been kept behind closed doors. It felt like an event that was meant for for developers behind closed doors. It was not meant for the general public. I think it should have stayed that way. And you wouldn't have seen the reaction that we've seen where. There's been a lot of vocal, very, very vocal negative criticism of it. Just starting off, just from the very beginning, just the presentation of it, the very dry format of it. I mean, nothing against Mark Cerny or anything like that. I'm not criticizing him. I'm just saying that just the way this was presented was about as I mean, it was about as low T and as low energy as you could possibly imagine. I was just like, I honestly had when I watched it about an hour or two after it was broadcast, and I wasn't able to watch it live. But I was basically skipping around. I had to skip around. I was almost putting me to sleep, and it was the middle of the day, so I couldn't fall asleep. So I had to kind of skip around a little bit. It was just so low energy and boring. I'm like, it felt like I was back in the classroom, to be honest. So just that element of it was very. I mean, he could have been up there talking about. Mark Cerny could have been up there narrating a porno, and I still wouldn't have been interested.
Jesus.
and then now he takes her breast in like, I mean he could have been doing that and I still would have been falling asleep.
Oh
But
boy.
yes, presentation was awful, about as bad as it could get. In terms of the system itself, what we were shown, I mean, we were initially, I mean, it just was a lot of confusion at the beginning. It was this the backwards compatibility side of they dropped the bomb kind of that the system will not be backwards compatible with PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, which I mean that was kind of wishful thinking, I'll admit that. But still it was something that we had hoped for and that we kind of had expected in a way. But that it's officially not going to happen, and then it's barely going to have PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility. It's only going to have select games.
No. There's been an update on that, and I actually spoke about that in the final thoughts. There has been an update on that. It's that a quick update on the backwards compatibility with all the amazing games that this is from the blog. With all the amazing games in the PS4 catalog, we devoted significant efforts to enable our fans to play their favorites on the PS5. We believe that the overwhelming majority of the 4,000 plus PS4 titles will be playable on PS5. We're expecting backwards compatible titles that will run at a boosted frequency at the PS5 so that they can benefit from higher or more stable frame rates and potentially higher resolutions. We're continually evaluating games on a title by title basis to spot any issues that need adjustment from the original software developer. So no, and trust me, at first, like when this first happened, yes, I was very much like only 100.
But even that statement, I mean, like I said, yeah. First of all, what they presented was confusing, and even that statement, I mean, it's that there's some concerns in there too. What do they mean that they're going to look at individual titles? What does that even mean? I mean, Microsoft just came out and said basically, yep, everything's backwards compatible. Why can't they just say that? What are they? Why are they? I guess handicapping this. So that's a concern. Then this is before we even get into the technical side of the PlayStation 5. There was this really weird obsession. They became fixated on talking about solid state hard drives, as if this was like some kind of new alien technology that had never existed before. It reminds me of the whole cell thing. Like how they kind of became like obsessed with that. Oh, the power of the cell. It kind of reminds me of it's like a PS3 flashback in a way. But yeah, I mean, solid state hard drives. I mean, yeah, they're great. That's why pretty much everything has them now, including consoles have been able to use them since back in the days of the PS3. I mean, it's but now we're having them come standard, but it's. I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing that they fixated on. It's like, oh, ours is going to be very fast, and it's like, okay, that's going to be fast, but I mean, what is that actually going to translate into in terms of gameplay? Maybe another second or so, shaved off of a loading time as compared to like an Xbox, Series X or something like that. I mean, is that going to be your deciding factor?
No, from what I understand, so you were skipping through it. So the thing is, like, you just kept skipping through it. And I think that's. I understand why you did. It definitely was boring. Like as I said in my final in my final thoughts, and even in my reactions after it, I was very disappointed by this. And I think the reason why I was disappointed is that PlayStation's messaging of this was so bad. Like, we haven't heard from PlayStation since last year from the two articles where Xbox had over the course of 2 years, like at E3 2018, I'm sorry, at E3 2018, there's like, oh, Project Scorpio, new next gen system, and now we're like, oh, what? We're coming to next gen, and then at E3 2019, they went, the Project Scorpio, the next system. They started talking like using buzzwords and specs and stuff. And then at the Game Awards, you and I watched it together, and that's when Phil Spencer came out and went, Series X, here's what it does. Like, here's the box, here's the controller, this is what it looks like. Announcement of Hellblade 2. You already know about Halo Infinite. Like, bam, just out the gate, like 5 minutes of like bam, and then like over the course, like within this past month, they have done a side-by-side comparison of the loading times of the Xbox One and the Series X, and then they also did on the Series X where it's the quick time or quick screens, meaning that you can open up different screens and you can instantly go back and forth from game to game to game to game. So you could have 2 to 3 plus games running at the same time and just go back and forth between whatever you want. Kind of like what you can do on PC, where you can kind of have multiple windows open. Well, so like I'm playing Doom on this screen, but I have on this screen I'm playing YouTube and just watching a podcast or something. You're watching Dualshock'd while you're playing Doom. Like, like that's kind of what it's doing. Where this conference was very much, it did state, like, this is what we would have done. This is very much what we would have said at GDC. This is a GDC conference. It very much was for the developers. But PlayStation, the day before, they were like, hey, come and watch, quote, The Road to PS5, where we do a deep dive of the PS5. And for me, I was thinking deep dive, okay, great. It's going to be like the 2013 reveal. We're going to know the specs. We're going to know, like, maybe we won't see the box, but we're going to know the specs. We're going to know the tech. Maybe we'll probably see some games. Maybe we'll see some comparisons between the PS4 and PS5. Great. Awesome. I'm ready. Come on, let's go. And then we got this freaking 1 hour long lecture that, my God, like, I love Mark Cerny. Mark Cerny's great, and he's such an intelligent, brilliant man. And
oh yeah, I mean, I'm not criticizing him at all. I mean, I walked, am I auditing like an engineering class here or something? Like, it just, like, what?
I get you. And like, he explained everything. Like, one of the parts that I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. Like, again, it was a lecture, but one of the things and it was during the solid state drive stuff, and he did talk about that a lot, but how he explained it, and I actually pulled this up, how he explained it is that he talks about the solid state drives, and he talks about the CPU, the GPU, and that kind of thing. And he talks about how games are loaded onto the system, where what happens is that, if I understand this correctly, is that you install a game onto your system, and you install the game, and then you have to install the patches into that game, especially like day one patches, or if it's an older game, new patches, whatever it would be. So what happens that on the PS4 is that it creates a whole new file, installs the game plus the patches, and then it moves it back. It has to move that back into the original file and like pretty much overlay it on top of the original file, where now it's just when patches happen, you can just take the new patches, the things that need to be fixed, and you can just go boop, 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 and then you just insert it into where it needs to be in the file. He talked about how downloading speeds would be, meaning that the bandwidth of it would be, the raw bandwidth of it would be 5.5 gigabits per second. So if you have a 10 gig game, so if you have like an indie game for like 10 gigs, it's going to be done in 2 seconds. If you have a 100 gig game, that'll be downloaded in 20 seconds. Like, that's kind of what intrigued the most about me when he talked about loading times in the solid state drive.
It's not going to download in 20 seconds. That's not how it works.
I thought that, like, okay.
No, you can't. That has to do with your internet speeds and stuff like that. Doesn't have to do with the solid state hard drive. Like I said, this is not anything new. I mean, this isn't some kind of weird voodoo tech. This is something that's existed for literally decades now. It's just that they happen to be putting in a particularly fast one, it sounds like, into the system, but that's all well and good. That, I mean, it helps the load times, but it doesn't in terms of the raw graphical power, this thing is kind of wimpy.
Well, I think that's because that's when it comes to, and that was kind of one thing that because there were like three topics they spent time with. It was the solid state drive, it was the speed, and it was the 3D audio. And what Mark Cerny talked about is that he wants to innovate the audio, meaning if you have, like, he wants to be able to have anyone that has any old TV to be able to have that simulated surround sound audio in it. And that is something that I do like. I like it that him and his team is looking at the PS5 to innovate on audio, because no one thinks about doing that. Everyone go like it's just
3D
like
audio exists on everything.
I understand the 3D audio exists. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but what I'm talking about is that they're trying to. The only way that you can get it is through if you have, like, I'm using the Platinum headsets as we're talking right now. This has 3D audio. If you want 3D audio, you can get a sound bar, or if you want the full surround sound, you get surround sound speakers or whatever. He's trying to innovate on the audio, the sound of it, where Xbox is looking at it as like, this is the most powerful system, hands down, up and down, specs wise, the most powerful system, period, boom, bam, done. And
it's actually, I mean, it's honestly, I mean, looking at the Series X, I mean, it's actually very impressive. Its power. There's not a lot of in the PC market. There's not a lot of GPUs that exist right now. At least, I mean, there will be plenty in about a year or two from now, or not even probably a year from now when the 3000 series comes out. But there's not a lot of GPUs that can can beat that right now. It's actually pretty powerful. I mean, but in comparison, PlayStation 5, I mean, the kind of upper mid-tier GPU that I'm using right now on the computer I'm on right now is actually basically just as powerful as a PlayStation 5 already, and this GPU is already going to be a year and a half old soon.
But again, and we even talked about this, like, you and I have discussed this just between ourselves about, like, again, I hated Resolution Gate back in 2013 or 2014. Like, I absolutely hated it. And that was when PlayStation was winning. PlayStation was the better console when it came to the resolution between the Xbox One and the PS4. I even was like, this is stupid. Who cares? Pick the system that has the games that you enjoy on it. Like, who cares? They both look good.
It was a factor, though. I mean, because it hurts the argument for purchasing an Xbox
to me, but maybe this is just me. Like, graphics to me are so low on the reasons I buy a system. It is probably the fifth or sixth thing that I look at when I'm like, why should I buy this system versus this system? Like, for me.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's fine and everything. But it's also, I mean, it's something that does matter. I mean, it's something that's an important factor in terms of what games are.
Why is that important? Why is that important? Or at least, why is it important to you?
I'll take an example with VR, for example. A big part of the reason why I've tried different kinds of VR headsets, and a big part of the reason why I think I struggle to comfortably use the PlayStation VR headset is partially because it doesn't look nearly as good visually as other options that you would find on PC. In terms of raw graphical power, that's part of the experience of a game. I mean, that's honestly that graphics was about the only good thing I could say about even a game I didn't really enjoy all that much, Horizon Zero Dawn. I mean, I will admit that graphically it was incredibly impressive to see. So I mean, that is a factor of the game's enjoyment. It's not the end all be all, but it is something that's important to some degree.
I mean, I can't go ahead and look, graphics are so low. Like, graphics was one of the things why I went with the PS4, why I upgraded to a Pro. Like I didn't buy a Pro, but I didn't buy a Pro day one. When they announced the Pro, I was like, awesome, great. I also have a 4K TV, but I really don't care. Like my games look pretty on this 4K TV as it is. Like whatever. It wasn't until I played Shadow of War and there was a jarring between the gameplay and the cinematics, like the cinematic trailers or whatever inside of the game. It was so jarring between the two, and then when I upgraded to a Pro and I was playing Shadow of War, it finally melded together. It didn't feel like, oh, I'm watching a cinematic and now I'm playing the game and back and forth. I mean, I understand that graphics are important. I'm not saying give me any old system that plays 30, like it looks like garbage. Like, no. But the discussion about, like, maybe this is for me, but, like, yes, the Series X is definitely far more powerful when it comes to its raw, absolute power. Like, I went ahead and I have a chart, kind of comparing the PS5 to the Series X. Its GPU is, and I talked about this, but its GPU uses the same custom or similar custom RMD Radeon RDNA, but the Xbox One uses Navi 12 teraflops, where PS5 uses a Navi 10.28 teraflops. When it comes, and then 36 CUs at 2.23 gigahertz on the PS5. And then 52 CUs at 1.25 gigahertz. So again, we're looking at raw power. You have that native 4K, 8K support up to 120 hertz for video output. For the PS5, it's 4K, 120 hertz refresh rate with 8K support. But when it comes to its data transfer speed, this is your difference, is that for its data transfer speed, PS5 is 5.5 gigabits per second raw, 8 to 9 gigabits per second compressed, while on the Series X it's 2 gigs per second raw, or 2.4 gigabits per second raw, 4.8 gigabits per second compressed. So when it comes to its data transfer speed, like how fast you can load something, it's very, very different.
So one is going to actually look good. The other one's just going to load a second faster.
No, the way that I explained this in my final thoughts is that I saw this is great analogy that I heard, is that these two systems, the Series X has a V8 engine, where the PS5 is a superpowered V6. They both will be able to do the same thing, but they do it in a different way. That is it.
Yes, but you'd rather, if you're buying the car, you'd rather.
You there, buddy?
Yep, I can hear me.
Yep, I got. Yep, no, I got you. I'm sorry, you cut out.
I was just saying that if you're buying the car, though, you'd rather buy the V8.
I mean, look. The way that I'm looking at this is that PlayStation is trying to go for cost efficiency, because that's what won them. That's really, like, you and I have discussed this multiple times. Like for a while. Yeah, I thought it was like, oh, yeah, look at their exclusives, but like,
we'll see if it pays out. We'll see if it pays off for them when they announce the price, but we don't have the price just yet. That's the tricky part about this.
Yeah, and like, honestly, PlayStation has stumbled over themselves with this. Like, to me, this feels like they're the reason why they stumbled is not because they got overzealous and like, oh, we're going to be able to sell it. I don't think it is that. It felt like they were coming from a place of defense, meaning like, we're not ready to announce anything because we want to wait for Xbox to do something. So they were playing from a place of defense. So we'll just do this GDC thing, but we'll tell everyone to watch it, which was a bad idea. But hey, at least it's information about the PS5. Like, PlayStation needs to now come out on offense and be like, they need to do like some kind of like state of play or something. Be like, here's the PS5, here's the specs, here are the games, compare it between the PS4 and the PS5. Announce, Bloodborne 2. That'll sell the system. Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, God of War 2, even if these games are in pre-alpha stage, like, when the PS4 got announced, we heard about Final Fantasy VII Remake and Kingdom Hearts 3, and both of those games haven't come out until now. Like Final Fantasy comes out this April, Kingdom Hearts came out last year. Like like you can announce these games, and even if they're not going to come out for years and years ahead, you're going to get people amped about those games. Where honestly, if I wasn't a PlayStation fanboy, if I wasn't Mr. PlayStation, I probably would be. I would probably be going like, oh, I kind of like that Series X over here. Hellblade 2? Hell yeah, I want to play that game. And I love Halo. I grew up on Halo. Oh man, Halo Infinite, and they're like almost rebooting the series. That's going to be fun. So you announced two really, and you're going to get Forza most likely, which Forza is always fun. And like, but you announced two games that people are excited for. Hellblade 1 got some Game of the Years when it came out, I believe in 2017 or 2018, maybe I can't remember. But both these games are games that people are excited for, but we haven't heard anything. No games, no nothing that we heard from PS5. The only thing that we saw is like Mark Cerny played a demo of, or there was this like behind closed doors demo of Marvel Spider-Man 5 on the PS5 on the dev kit of it, and we've only heard about it. We haven't seen it. Let us see these things. Like, show us. I think we are at the point where we are starving for PlayStation 5 content, and we haven't gotten them yet. Where Xbox is just going, here's a little tidbit here, here's a little tidbit here. Like, PlayStation has everything to lose in this, and I think that's why they're playing from defense, is that they know that Xbox is definitely going to come out swinging, especially with Phil Spencer running the show. Like, and they've been doing that for the past few, like, they've been, like, very much preparing people for this next-gen system, the Series X, for the past 2 years now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's I mean, really, at this point, though, I mean, I feel like the only thing they have going for them, we already talked before about, I mean, some concerns about games, that it feels like they keep losing exclusives, not gaining them. So I don't know. It's in terms of just which one's the better console, based on what we know so far, I think Xbox definitely pulls ahead. I mean, now we don't know the price, so that's a factor.
Mm-hmm.
So that's big. But in terms of just the features and the power, I think it's kind of a no-brainer here. One of them is offering us a tremendous amount of power that's really on par with top-end PCs.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, in addition to basically, full backwards compatibility, even all the way back to original Xbox, which is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So a great deal of emphasis put on backwards compatibility and features. They have their Game Pass program, which is is kind of a good option for some people. So it has all these good things going for it, and then on the other side, it's just like PlayStation. I mean, it feels like this time around, it's just okay. Well, we got some exclusive franchises, some games, which they'll talk about presumably in their next event.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, I mean, it's all they really have going for them. It feels it's almost like they're holding the games hostage.
Yeah. No,
I'd rather.
I get you. I mean, again, when it comes to, if you're talking about the whole, like, Horizon Zero Dawn going to PC and so on and so forth, again, we've discussed about this. Right, Guerrilla Games, the head of Guerrilla Games, has even said that they are still very much focused on the PlayStation hardware. We just want to, this is a 3-year-old game, let's just put it onto PC, make a little bit of, like, we want more people to play it, which means make a little bit more money off of what they did when they already made tons of money off of it on the PS5. Like, whatever. It's an old game. I don't, like, to me, I'm okay with it. I don't mind that it's like a 3-year-old PS4 game is coming to PC. I don't mind about that. I would be more upset if if God of War 2 comes out in 2023 and they go, all right, it's coming to the PS5 in 2023, but it's also going to be on PC. You can play it on PlayStation now. And I'm like, oh, come on. What? Like, that, I'd be more upset about that, but that hasn't become the case yet, and I don't think it's going to be, because they know that.
And that's why, at least for now, I mean, I do intend to buy a PlayStation 5 eventually.
Mm-hmm.
When some of these big games, God of War is the only one that really comes to mind right now. Some of these other big games come out, maybe, but it's just, I mean, man, I mean, I really want. Trust me, I know it sounds like I'm just mercilessly, bashing the system,
Mm-hmm.
but I really, really wanted to like this. I mean, I enjoyed my PlayStation 4. I'm, PlayStation, PS3 was, had some mistakes, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it became kind of a good system. It had some good things going for it.
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 was basically my favorite console of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, so I have a lot of, and I enjoy one as well too. I have a lot of love for Sony. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's just that I really feel like they're it wasn't as bad as a PS3 reveal, but it felt like they really were off message here. They don't understand what consumers actually want.
I don't think that this was I do not think that this was the plan. I honestly think that they were like, crap, this virus has happened. We can't go and do this, the GDC conference, because GDC was supposed to be the week that this happened. The road to PS5 was supposed to happen, but it's not because of the Last of Us virus. So like, to me, this is not the reveal. The problem is that because everything got shut down, they told everyone, hey, come and watch this thing, and they didn't say that this was a GDC conference video. Like, this was going to be what they would have done at GDC. It was very much the wording and the messaging of it was that, hey, come and see the road to PS5. We're going to do a deep dive of the PS5, and that they did do that. That is exactly what happened, but it very much was not what we were expecting, and we haven't gotten any more information. If in February, which is what everyone was expecting and hoping for, and even us, we were waiting on that. If in February they did like some kind of reveal event, like they did in 2013, and then we got this GDC conference, I don't think people would be as upset. I think people would be like, oh, okay. I mean, this was an hour that I kind of didn't need, but like you had everything that you wanted. You announced your games, you announced your system, it exists, this is what it does, blah 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 blah. Like, the problem is, I think a lot of people are upset, including myself and you, is that we have been starving for actual tangible information about, like, okay, fine, awesome, good specs, cool stuff. What does it do? Like, show me. What does it do for, like, show me a game, play a PS4 game on it, and show how fast it is, show how pretty it is. Like, what new PS5 game is coming out? Godfall is the only one. It is a third party. It's a second party game because it's developed by Gearbox, which is a third party developer. But it's only going to be on PlayStation. Like, okay, and even I'm like watching this trailer, it looks cool. It looks like Darksiders. I love me that kind of aesthetic. But what is this game? I don't even know what this Godfall game is. Like, that didn't get me hyped. That didn't get me excited. I'm like, what is this game? If you showed me Horizon Zero Dawn 2, if you showed me like whatever, like, blah.
Yeah, it just, like I said, it didn't. It was a mistake to have this type of presentation. It just, I don't know. I think I don't think we're gonna get. I mean, it's basically, I mean, really the only thing at this point that will help restore some confidence in this thing is a very aggressive and good price point. Like, if it comes out at like $3.99 or something like that, I think that would work really well for it. But if this thing launches at $4.99 and then you have the Series X at $4.99, it's just like, man, I mean, if I'm strictly, I mean, like I said, for me, it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, I'm on PC, but if I'm a console gamer, if I'm strictly console, then I would be leaning more towards the Xbox. I mean, personally, I mean, I don't think it's worth buying a system just for maybe one exclusive. I mean, it's, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's just where I'm coming from.
I mean, again, you very much play games for you're a third party gamer. Excuse me, it's really dry over here. For me, again, I'm very much exclusive. So what exclusives do you offer that I can get excited about? And the last generation, they went Infamous, Order 1886, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I'm like, well, I'm here. You showed me Infamous. I'm here. Like, that was one of the kind of within that first year, that launch time period games that I'm buying this system for you. Where Xbox kind of didn't really have anything that I was like really amped for, but like they're coming out with Halo. Halo is your launch, like that's how you launch a system. You launch with one of your big marquee flagship games. They're opening with Halo Infinite. That is going to be a Series X game. That's big. I hope PlayStation comes out and goes, hey, here, because let's see, who could it be? I would probably say you could probably have it be maybe another game from Santa Monica. It's not going to be Sucker Punch because Ghost of Tsushima comes out later this year. It's not going to be Naughty Dog because Last of Us. I mean, maybe Insomniac, maybe another Ratchet and Clank game, but that's not big enough. I don't know. I don't know, but like PlayStation needs to come out swinging with something. They need to come out swinging with something that makes me go, yep, I'm getting you. If they get the price point, awesome. But I understand where you're coming from because you're not an exclusive guy like me. Exclusives is what is, to me, higher on...
I mean, at this point, though, I mean, it's one of the... to some extent, I mean, for certain gamers, I mean, it's the only reason to really get it at this point is for the exclusive. So I mean, that's the reason I'm still eventually going to get one is to play God of War, and you know, I'm sure there'll be some other stuff that's exclusive that I'm interested in. But if those games were coming to, if you told me those games were all coming to Steam, I would be like, okay, well, that saves me, you know, $400 or $500. I don't have to get a PlayStation now.
I mean,
you know, that's for me. That's the only thing that's really even justifying the purchase anymore, because I mean it's going to be essentially the least powerful system. It's going to be you know, it has the least features. You know, even I mean backwards compatibility is basically an afterthought for them.
Well, the other thing is I still, it's just too early. We don't even have all the information for the Series X yet. I mean, we have more information on the Series X than we do on the PS5, but we still do not have everything for the Series X. So, like, it's still too early to really even do that. Honestly, if by June or you know that summertime when E3 normally happens, we better get some freaking information. Like, honestly, I hope by next month, April, if not beginning of May, bare minimum, we get a reveal. We get, boom, here's the PS5. Like, if you like, Xbox is continuously, it's weird, like PlayStation did this in 2013 where they continuously, little by little, kept giving us information from February until it came out. But only Xbox, they like announced it in May, and then E3 happened, and then it comes out, and it was like $500 with barely any exclusives, and really no, like all of that stuff. It feels like PlayStation is playing on the defense so much that they're falling into the traps that not as much, like they're not telling you, hey, go buy a PS4 instead of a PS5. That was dumb. When Don Matrick went ahead and said, hey, go ahead and buy a 360 instead of an Xbox One. That was stupid. But like, they're playing.
But yeah, but in a way though that they kind of have done that, because they had an executive come out, I think it was a year or two ago, and just basically said that it was some comment about he had went to a some kind of games conference, and they had all the different versions of Gran Turismo, all going all the way back to PlayStation 1, and he had a comment along the lines, I can't remember exactly who I'm quoting here. He had a comment along the lines of those old games look so ugly, why would anyone want to play that? So I mean, it was kind of this out of touch type of moment that was, it wasn't like the Don Matrick moment, but it was it kind of similar. I mean, it gives you a peek behind the curtain into their thought process. They think that this doesn't matter for people. This is a feature that people don't care about, but obviously people do. I mean, otherwise, why would Microsoft focus on it so much, and then why would they then double down on it if they really felt that?
I get you. I agree, because it's surprising because even the Pro sells more than I believe the Xbox One. Like the Pro, I'm talking the Xbox One X. Like, there are more Pros being sold than the Xbox One X.
Well, yeah, it's obvious because, I mean, it's game generations are kind of built on momentum. You know, it takes a lot to kind of shift gears. Like, I mean, the only like real good example we have of that, off the top of my head at least, was the PlayStation 3 eventually just barely overtaking the 360.
Yeah, I know.
And what you needed for that was literal years of, deep discounts on the PS3, a bunch of games coming out for it.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you had 360 kind of sort of languishing in its later years, not really having.
No, they didn't.
Like
they kind of just sat there. They just kind of just like.
Yeah, there was a focus on things like Kinect, which really, weren't. It wasn't the system seller
that they thought. Mind you, both PlayStation and Xbox were trying to jump into that Wii market. Like, I can't, like, the Move, that fun, cool gimmick. Like the PSVR is a cooler gimmick than the Move. Like, I will say that, but like, I don't know. It's just like, and again, I wanted to really talk about this with you, because in my final thoughts and even in the reaction, I was definitely upset. I was very much like, what did I just watch? And it's because of the messaging, not because of what I watched. Like, the actual thing I saw was bad, because it wasn't. It was a lot of information that we got, but you should have told me. I should have been ready for a GDC conference instead of like, oh, I'm going to get a reveal. And maybe I set my expectations too high, so I was like, oh boy. But again, it was rough, and I think it's just we're in again back to what kind of almost like the overarching subject of this episode is just we're in crazy times right now. This is not of the norm. We probably would have
just with the current events, and honestly, I really wasn't expecting this from. This presentation caught me off guard. I wasn't really expecting this. I was expecting, maybe that they would come out with at least a powerful console and maybe have some ideas about backwards compatibility, even if it was difficult. Maybe they come out and say, oh, we can, it'll be backwards compatible with PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and we're working on PlayStation 3 titles compatibility. Like that would have been okay. That's great. That's excellent. But it's just they just dismiss it out of hand completely, and
who knows? Maybe again they're playing on a place of defense. We already knew they were going to do backwards compatible to the PS4, so maybe they just talked about that, and maybe we just don't know it yet. But they're working on going further back. I don't know.
It's possible, and maybe they see the one good thing is maybe they're reacting to this and how negative it was, and keep in mind, look what happened back in 2013. There was such a huge backlash to the Xbox One that they basically, even before launch, pretty much reversed course on all their policies. It was originally going to be an online only system and have all this, you couldn't have used games on it, and had all this crazy stuff going on, but they basically reversed all those decisions pretty much at launch.
Yeah.
And so it's anything's possible.
No, I get you.
Change.
And if we talk about it, like just looking at that, and if that was the only thing we saw, then yeah, that was bad, and oh man, I don't know if I would get a PS5, but it's still too early. We're like, if it was June, or June or August, and this is all we got, I think we would be in a different spot. But what I mean is that we're in such a crazy time with just this this virus and the social distancing and everyone staying home and taking care of themselves and doing what washing your hands and everything. This is such a crazy time. I honestly think that we would have seen this at GDC, and that we probably would have gotten maybe something in February, or maybe at we were supposed to get PAX, that got canceled. South by Southwest got canceled. All these events got canceled, and we probably would have heard something from them. But because they all got canceled, we didn't. And PlayStation very much wants to be with their audience, and because of this virus, it messed up all of those plans. So.
Yeah.
And this is everything. I think, and that's kind of where we're at today. I think this is what they did, and instead of trying to announce it, they just kind of stuck to kind of just went, all right, well, we were going to do GDC, we're just going to do this. And maybe they wanted to see what people thought, Maybe this was more of a testing ground. They were going to do this anyway, but let's see what people thought. We'll put this out for the general public, and let's see if what the reaction is of the PS5. I don't know. There's so many unknown variables about just the PS5 and even the Series X that we don't know, and we're still too far out from these systems getting launched. And even with this virus, who knows? These systems could get pushed back, and they might not launch in the holiday of 2020. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. That's the worst part about all this, is that we don't know. There's so much stuff that's in the air, and just in life. This is not just like, about these two systems. It's everything, absolutely everything. So, yeah. Any other thoughts from you, Spectre, about this?
No, I mean, honestly, I'm very disappointed. Like I said, I really wanted this to be great, because, like I said, I enjoyed my PlayStation 4. I really did, and but yeah, just with the direction they're going in, I mean, I'm mostly gaming on PC now, and I feel very comfortable with that, because I don't feel like I'm missing out on much at this point.
I mean, again,
I hope they can reverse course here. I hope they can make it better.
I think they will. I have faith in PlayStation. I think they will.
But I know you do. I know I said no matter what you're. But for me, it's it's just I mean, I went from okay, I probably want to get this at launch to, well, maybe a couple years down the road.
But again, you and I've talked. You prefer the third-party games. Even when you and I talked about like what system were you going to get back in 2013, 2014, you were like, and again, you were like, I want a PS4 because it looks the resolution gate stuff, and the games you picked up was like the new Battlefield and all the third-party games. You didn't care about the exclusives. You were like third-party games, and that's fine. That is okay, and honestly, that's a lot of the general public. A lot of people pick up. It's the NBA, it's the Madden, it's the Call of Duty, it's the Battlefield, it's the Fortnite, it's the the game that you can buy on any system. It doesn't matter. That's why crossplay is becoming a big thing. If I have a PlayStation and you have an Xbox, we can play together. Or if I have an Xbox and you have a Switch, we can play together. If I have a PS4 and PC, whatever. So so on and so forth. That's kind of becoming the new thing. So I get it. Again, I'm probably in a small boat when it's like, what exclusives do you have? That's what sells the system for me. But you're like, well, I don't really care what looks prettier, what's more powerful, what.
Yeah, you're more the diehard. I don't see you giving up PlayStation unless it got to the point where literally, I think the only thing that might make you think about leaving would be like the day they announce like, God of War coming soon to Steam.
Yeah, like they go, here's the PS5, it's $600 exclusives. It's like some it's like Knack 3.
The games that we felt weren't even worth porting into Steam because no one's gonna buy them.
No, so. But the exclusives that or just these new IPs that are just kind of like lackluster, or like they're Killzone Shadowfall. It exists. It's fine. It does what it needs to do, but it's totally just a tech demo, that kind of stuff. Not come out of the gate with something like they would need to the price point needs to be bad. You don't have good exclusives coming out, and I'm not talking about at launch. I'm talking about in the foreseeable year or two, Because, that's what sold me. Infamous was the game that yep, I'm buying this day one. Yep, I want this. Yeah, sure, I'll play Knack and whatever. But, I want this day one. I'll play Assassin's Creed because it's going to be rad on this. Assassin's Creed 4. I'm going to play Watch Dogs on this. This is going to be rad, but Infamous. I want to play Infamous on this right here. And that's what sold me. Infamous was, within that launch window that made me go, yep, you. So, yeah. We spent a long time. This has been a longer episode than normal.
Yeah, we have to start putting time restrictions on topic.
I mean, well, mind you, I did. Trust me, I did. It's just that honestly, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening, and hopefully, that's why even now, you're not here with me. I'm on here by myself, just doing this. And you're over where you're at, just a voice. So normally you're here with me, but because of social distancing, we're doing our part to make sure that everyone is staying safe. And please, everyone out there, please stay safe. Please, if you can stay home, stay home. And take care of yourselves and wash your, do everything like social distancing, wash your hands, all that kind of stuff. Like do your part to make sure that we can curb this and we can get out of this as soon as possible, so we can go back to normal and get hyped for the stuff that we like to get hyped for.
Except for the PlayStation 5.
Shut up. Whatever. Shut up, Spectre. You're just.
But there's
wrong.
still plenty of. Still, we got to get back to normal. There's plenty of other stuff.
Yeah, but. Yeah. All right.
That's not one. But that's not one.
Shut up, Spectre. You're still wrong. Shut up, Spectre. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and comment. Let us know what you guys thought. I know this was a longer than normal episode, but there's been a lot of stuff that's happening, and we wanted to go and discuss this. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Please, we always appreciate that. We'd love to hear what you guys think. Also, press the bell icon. That way, whenever we put up a video, you know that we put up a video. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Brotherhood of Geeks. You can also follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'd BOG. That's the name of our PlayStation podcast, Dualshock'd BOG. It's right there. Look at that. Look at the screen. It's on the bottom. Bam! Dualshock'd. At least you know how to spell it now. Bam. But yeah, you can go Dualshock'd BOG on Twitter, and then you can also follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks when we stream. Woo! All right, Spectre. Anything else from you, my man?
No, we do have a Steam group, of course. I'm the only member because you have not made a Steam account yet.
Well,
everyone else is welcome to join.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Where do we go for that, Spectre?
Well, first you get on your gaming PC, which you should be on anyway.
Oh, okay.
And then you go to I believe it's community, and you look for groups, and or you can actually even just go on your own profile and look for groups and just do a search function, and boom, just look for Brotherhood of Geeks, and you'll see it's only one member because he hasn't made his profile yet. And yeah, you just click on that and join. It should be public to join for anybody, and yeah.
Yeah, but we would love to have you guys join that because Spectre is very much more of a PC guy, and he would love to go ahead and interact with you guys. I'll be on there, probably, most likely. Yeah. No, but guys, go ahead. We want to hear from you. We want to interact with you. We want to talk with you, especially during this crazy time. So yeah. Anything else, Spectre?
No, that's about it.
All right, then.
We'll have to wait and see, this when they actually do a reveal event.
Exactly. All right, then. Well, then, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
I'm Spectre.
And as always, live to play, play together. We'll see you guys next time.